Hey everyone, my name is Twwk, and I am your host today. We're going to be inviting Ithileryn to join us today, so I'm super excited. She is an awesome cosplayer. She's a professional cosplayer, and she's a friend of Beneath the Tangles, a staff person actually. So we're going to chat with her today, talk all about cosplay, talk about what she's doing, and I think you're going to have a really great time. So hi GGHFF688YBV. Maybe there's something, an abbreviation for your name I can call you, but welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, everyone. Ithileryn will be here any second. In the meantime, I want to ask you guys, what anime or manga are you reading right now? As in, you read today, yesterday, or watched today or yesterday? Because I'd love to hear your recommendations, or just, what you're interested in seeing these days. So drop those in the comments below, and we will invite Ithileryn aboard in a second here. All right. So I have been not watching a lot this season. I'm waiting for next season. Oshinoko is definitely something I've been watching this season. Ooh. Aboard. Welcome aboard. And there she is. Hey, Erin.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I ruined the surprise because I saw in your stories that you were going to go live as Winry. Otherwise, I'd be like, Winry!
Sorry. Yeah, I
No.
thought about it. I debated on whether making it like a surprise thing, but I was like, I figured more people would come if I was in costume.
Yeah, no, I was gonna tell you, don't bother. Just, we're just happy to have you here. So,
It's
um,
fine. I had to double dip on some content, so it's okay. It's
good.
luckily like this is my real hair, so it's like a low
Yeah,
effort cosplay for me. So
yeah. Well, you look great
thank
as it,
you.
and oh, happy birthday, Parker. We're doing this just for you today, Parker. So, yeah. So, welcome aboard. I wanted to ask you, just for those people who are joining now that are from our side beneath the tangles, I may not know you too well. How did you pick your cosplay name? Like, where did that come from?
Okay. So Aaron is part of my name, and I grew up, I guess one of the main fandoms that really kind of got me into lore and being a huge nerd was Lord of the Rings. And I actually, Ithileryn comes from my first D&D character, and she was a wood elf. She was a druid as well, specifically Circle of the Moon, and so I was coming up with a name for her, and so I was using Tolkien's Sindarin language, and so Erin and means forest. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool because it's part of my name, so it's like she's a part of me. And then since she's Circle of the Moon, I picked the word for moon, which is Ethel, and so Ithileryn. And then when I started streaming, it was my gamer tag, and it just became like, okay, I'll just use that since it matches all of my gamer tags. And then I started cosplaying after I was streaming, and so I already had an audience for like in the nerd community. It just was a little different, and but I was like, some of the people like the cosplay stuff, and so I just kept the name. Um, and so yeah, that's the lore of Ithileryn, I
That is
suppose.
lore. That is such a nerdy answer. I love it. No, it's it's like nerd cred right there in like the username,
Yeah.
right? Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, I know one fandom that I really share with you is Lord of the Rings. Just love it so much. You haven't done any cosplay from Lord of the Rings yet, have you?
I did two makeup tests in,
Oh,
I think, 2019 and 2020, but Lord of the Rings is so important to me. I'm
Hmm.
scared I won't do it justice, and so
Hmm.
I stay away from it because I love it and revere it.
Yeah.
And so that's what people always ask. They're like, your favorite, because they're like, what's your favorite fandoms? And I'm like, Lord of the Rings, BioShock, and like Nier, I guess. Just some of them off the top of my head.
Mm.
And Skyrim, I guess, too. But they're always like, Lord of the Rings is your first answer, yet you have no Lord of the Rings cosplays. I'm like, yes, because I'm
Mm.
scared.
There's a question here from one of the folks over here who says, favorite character from Lord of the Rings?
I'm really bad at favorites. I feel like my favorite depends on the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, like feel like I feel like Gandalf is the safe answer, but I honestly,
Mm.
Frodo is my favorite, and I know, and you rarely pick the main character, rarely. Um, but Frodo's my favorite. I think because a lot of times when I'm watching something, I look for not only interesting characters, those are usually my favorite, but a lot of times it's like the characters that either inspire me or like they kind of make me go, ouch, that's me, but like in a bad way. Like a lot of
Mm.
times, like my favorite characters tend to be the ones that point out my ugly, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Because then
yeah.
it's validating for the ugly parts
Right.
of our personalities.
Yeah.
And I feel in the movies, they didn't get to show as much time with Frodo before the ring. You do get to see glimpses of him though, and he has like a lot of joy, and he's kind of like a troll, and he loves his friends very dearly. But then like his task makes him kind of this moody character, and he goes through so much, and I feel like it's just um, it kind of encourages me because I guess when I think through hard times in my life, anytime I think through like, oh, I just don't feel like getting up today. I feel so defeated. I just remember like the joy that he had in the beginning, and then like how
Mm-hmm.
far he had gotten towards the end where he just is kind of like a shell of a being, but then the moment where like Galadriel picks him up
Mm-hmm.
in the third movie. And I
Mm-hmm.
just keep thinking to myself when I'm like in tough situations, I'm like, I can be joyful again. I can get up again. If he could get up in Shelob's lair,
Right.
I can get up. And so
Yeah.
I guess it's just his character is very validating for me in like a lot of personality traits,
Mm-hmm.
but also he's very encouraging to me, I would
Yeah.
say.
I agree with that. I feel like more recent fandom has kind of been really harsh on Frodo. Like, that's not kind of how when I originally read the books and everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, the hero and like look what he went through and but I feel like there's a lot of judgment on him these
There
days. I'm like,
is.
Frodo, dude, I don't think you get the weight of the
Uh-huh.
ring, and how, how it impacted him and how he made it
Mm-hmm.
through and the encouragement you can get from him, right? So
Yeah.
that's a great answer. So, by the way, everyone out there, if you have any questions for Aaron, I can't keep track on the timeline here, so drop them in the questions and I will get to them periodically. So just hit that kind of question mark, I think, and ask a question and I will get to them. Um, so yeah, we talked about Lord of the Rings and then you're dressed as Winry today, but how do you kind of decide what characters to cosplay?
Um, there's a litany of things that go into my decisions. Um, Most of the ones that I make from scratch, those are the ones that I love very dearly. So, very rarely will I love a character and be okay with buying it. I want to make it for some reason. I guess I want my own personal touch
Mhm.
to the costume because I care about the character a lot. So, like, my Raven is from scratch, my Jinx is from scratch, Elizabeth Comstock is from scratch. So, a lot of times, those ones that I put more effort into are the ones that I care about very deeply. But a lot that goes into it is personality. Aesthetic is huge for me. I have occasionally been commissioned to cosplay a character or decided to cosplay a character without watching the source or reading or playing the source, but once I've decided to do it, I'm like, oh, she looks so cool or whatever, and I'll watch some clips or whatever and decide I want to do that. And then I'll do like a whole character study and like delve in before I cosplay it because I don't want to get out there and look like an idiot and people be like, she
Hmm.
would never,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't want to be disrespectful, but a lot of times like there'll be a character, or not a lot, but some of the time there will be a character that I just feel like looks so dang
Hmm.
cool and makes me want to cosplay it. And as I'm working on it, then I'll like have it on in the background.
It's
Um,
it sounds a lot like acting when you take on a role and kind of have to study it and perform it well, right? I mean, do you feel that the two fields are pretty related?
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, I enjoy the acting portion of cosplay the most. So
Oh,
that makes sense that I would uh go at it from a very like actor perspective. Um I I did that with Siri from The Witcher, actually. I wanted to cosplay it, and some people also wanted me to cosplay it, and I was lucky enough to get some funding for the costume. But as I was like building it, I always wanted to watch The Witcher or play the games, and so I started to do my character analysis so that I didn't. I wanted to know what I was getting into as far as like portrayal wise, but I also don't want to offend the audience. But also just
oh,
for me, like I want to do a
what
good
is this?
job and I want to know how you filtering it up over here.
I don't know what happened, but Jujutsu Kaisen's last chapter is coming out like in a couple days, so it's very appropriate. I had a
Oh,
Sukuna face
yeah.
for a
Okay, yeah.
minute,
I
but
was like,
no
are you
spoilers, no
Sukuna?
spoilers, no
Yeah, yeah, no
spoilers here.
spoilers.
Okay, all right, go. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Um, oh man. But yeah, I would say it is very similar to I guess how an actor would like, you know, accept a role and then study.
Hmm.
I just want to do a good job and I want to feel like I know what I'm doing when I get on set. Um, because for me, I love doing like the photo shoots and doing like the acting uh for the photo shoots.
Hmm.
Or videos. Sometimes I do like videos, like I released a video today. It was like a John shot it with his like gimbal and it was fancy. Um, but yeah, I would say I look at it as almost taking on an acting role, and I have to, I want to know, I have to know what the headspace I need to be in to give it my all
Hmm.
and to do a good job.
Yeah.
So,
That's good. Yeah. By the way, guys, we've got, I see one, people are asking questions, and I see one in our kind of question
mhm.
area, but I'm going to miss them. So just drop the questions in there and I will get to them in a couple minutes, guys. If you are just coming in and dropping out, make sure that you follow Ithileryn Cosplay before you leave. Um, so I guess the question, you probably get this a lot, but which cosplay would you say is your most popular one? There are so many.
I I feel like the most popular one is gonna be Jinx.
Hmm.
Um,
I
but
can
I did.
think of your expression, like when you're doing that. Yeah, there you go.
People
Yeah, that's a great
always
one.
ask me if it's hard, and I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, it's not." And I'm like,
No.
"No." Jinx is a part of me.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I cosplayed Jinx, the original skin from League of Legends. That was my first costume I made from scratch,
Oh,
actually.
wow. Okay.
And I made her in I think 2018 or 2019. And so I was one of the few Jinxes from before Arcane. And then when Arcane was releasing in 2021, I was one of those psychos that was like, I'm gonna make it based off of screenshots from the trailer. And so I crunched that cosplay and it was like the death of me, but
Uh,
I feel like that's my most popular one. I feel like a close second is Raven. I think I just give off a lot of Raven vibes in general. So I think I play the part well. Um,
yeah. Kind of you, right? So, yeah,
yeah.
let's see. Someone here says Gwen. That's
Gwen.
another popular
Gwen is one
one.
of my popular ones. I feel like Faye Valentine is another one. That one it went a little viral, I remember, and I woke up one day and was like, when I had posted my Faye, like the next day it had like exploded my old Instagram,
Wow.
um, back in the day.
The-
But yeah, I would say Jinx, closely followed by Raven, Gwen, and Faye, somewhere. And those characters, I would say, are probably my most popular.
I want to ask you a little bit about kind of the nitty gritty of it, the kind of the day in day out grind.
Yeah.
But kind of before we get to that, you were talking about how Faye blew up, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, are there times where you kind of okay? So I'll set the context. Like
Hmm.
before, like I followed any cosplayers or kind of knew any cosplayers, the first thing that would come to my mind is like, oh, that sounds so glamorous, right? And now I know better. but but are there parts of it that you feel are like glamorous and really cool and kind of like living this other kind of life?
Um, I think when I started guesting at conventions a lot a couple of years ago, I I feel like I had my first experience with like, oh, I guess I'm like
Mm-hmm.
with micro famous, right?
Right, right. There's
Um,
fans. There's fans coming to see you.
yeah, and it was bizarre. And I remember at one point, I had I realized very early on I needed a handler just because like I need somebody to make sure I'm eating and
Mm,
all my blood sugar problems and whatnot. And
mm.
so I remember my mom coming, and after a few interactions, she's like, "These people really do think you're famous." And I was like, I know, right? It's a little weird, isn't it? And so sometimes I still have an interaction here or there that kind of makes me again realize, I guess, the place that I have on the internet, or kind of did. I feel so defeated by my Instagram right now, but um, I know one time I met a young woman and she came to my booth and she was just like sobbing, and I was like, please don't cry. I'm just normal. And she's
Mm.
like freaking out and she wanted me to sign this like really special jacket of hers, and it had like signatures from like famous voice people, and I remember just being like, I was like having to calm her down. I was like, I'm really not that cool, but thank you. And so I guess like that's like the closest to like glamorous, I
Mhm.
suppose, as it gets. Um, but I feel like I have a hard time seeing it for what it is. I guess from that perspective, I don't really get starstruck for other people very often. I think the most starstruck I got was when I met the Hobbits.
Mhm.
But even then, I guess I just very much realized that they're just people.
Yeah.
And so for me, having that perspective kind of always, I have a hard time seeing it as like I'm some sort of internet micro
Mhm.
famous person. More or less, I'm just like, I'm me and I'm in a costume. I'm making that money today.
Mhm.
But
Well, there's the thing. Like, it's for you, it's a profession. I mean, this is what you do full time. What is it? And I think one of the things that's really cool about your account. I say that we'll talk about that in a little bit. What's happening? I don't want to about all this, but I definitely want everyone to support you. But one of the really cool things about when you're throwing up stories up there is you're sharing the day in day out what you're doing, what you're thinking, your thinking process. If you're developing something, you're kind of I would say unfiltered, but I think they're filtered a little bit. Your thoughts out there, it's not 100%, but you say a lot. You say a lot more than a lot of people do,
I do say
um,
a lot.
and that makes you. I mean that makes you accessible, makes you authentic, and I think that's really nice for your fans and followers. But I want to talk about that kind of professional part. Like what is like. I'm sure there's not a typical day, but what is the day of a cosplayer like?
Usually how I start answering this question, because I get this question a lot, especially when I'm running panels at cons.
Hmm.
It's a lot more admin than you think. Actually, today I started admin on my phone and then moved to my PC. I'm pointing over there like you can
Hmm.
tell, but my PC's over there. I don't know. I move my hands a lot. I was at my PC for maybe 4 hours this morning, and that's very normal. I honestly usually start out my day on my phone, doing like a post or whatever. And then I move to my computer and either I'm like preparing some sort of Patreon thing or trying to upload stuff to YouTube, or just, ordering costumes, ordering paper to print prints. So usually a good portion of the day is admin. At least for what I do. I know some people that primarily commission like props or wigs. They're going to be probably making more than doing the admin part.
Yeah.
But running the online store and my website and Patreon and making sure I have everything edited for that tends to take a lot of admin time. Um,
I don't know how
me,
y'all do Patreon. We have a Patreon. I can't keep up. Like it's like I eventually told everyone, hey, I'm not doing anything for these levels anymore. Sorry, guys. Like we appreciate you.
yeah.
I love you, right? But it's just so much work. Like it's hours and hours and hours of work.
It is. I don't really think people quite understand because even people that are there and they read the posts and they see it. I do have occasionally people will tell me because I have a Discord connected to my Patreon and I do occasionally get comments from them being like, I don't know how you answer us all day long. And I'm like, because it's my
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a you get a system a little bit, right? You have like a routine and it helps you get like 15 hours of stuff done in 13 hours. You know what I'm
I
saying? That sounds
hope,
accurate, right? It's a lot.
I hope. I joke and say I never put it down. I try to give myself pretty lengthy breaks in the middle
Hmm.
of the day because I know that once I am sitting somewhere and like if I'm watching, so at night I watch Frasier and a lot of
Hmm.
times I'm doing emails while I'm watching Frasier. So if
Hmm.
I'm answering emails at 11 p.m., I can't say where all the hours go in the day. And that's what I'm saying. Like I take pretty lengthy breaks in the middle of the day because if I didn't, I wouldn't take breaks.
Yeah.
Um, and so I force myself like in the middle of the day to like watch TV and chill. Because previously I was really bad about doing that. I actually really struggle with having productivity guilt a lot. Um, and so I've been like forcing myself to like sit down and relax, which is hard because then I tend to pick up my phone and answer things
Hmm.
and do the easy things. Like I can answer a couple DMs on commercial
Yeah.
break, right?
Well, because it builds up too, right? So like I think at least this is the case for me. Like sometimes people are like, "Why are you answering emails when it's 9, 10 o'clock at night?" I'm like, because then I've got to answer tomorrow morning, and this is another weight off my shoulders. Just get taken care of. Get taken care of. One
Yeah.
thing off. One thing off. Because
Yeah.
it's just gonna build up and up, and then you fall behind, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of pressure, right?
It is a
So
lot of pressure, especially when like for me, if I don't get it done, no one gets it done.
yeah.
Like I'm it,
Hmm.
And so the only person that's kind of part of my team is John, who does my photos a lot. I used him a lot more this year than I did previously because I was shooting about a quarter, maybe more like a third to half of my content previously. But it's just really hard to get the shots that I want, being, with a remote. A lot of times I want like those cool like cinematic shots that I can't quite get my like tripod to get the camera in the right angle that I want, and it takes forever, especially if you're doing studio bookings because you book by the hour, and if it takes me about 3 times as long to get the same photos as that John can
Yeah.
get, then I'm paying $300 for a set rather than 100 for the
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
um
And he's the
and
man. He's
so
so good. Like
he's so
the
good.
stuff he puts out there, and I've seen I've been around not even you with someone else while he was filming a couple of times, and just his interaction,
He's
like
incredible.
there's this people love him, right?
Yeah.
In addition to the talent, he's
Yeah.
terrific.
He's
Um,
awesome. I remember when I first started, or when I first decided I wanted to do cosplay full time, and I wanted to do it like from the photography standpoint and not tutorials or commissions. I immediately was like, John, You're gonna have to help me. Because in all my time working with a lot of different photographers at cons, like he's just unbeatable. Like he's so fast. He's
Mm,
brilliant.
mm.
He gets immediately what I want. I can literally say, I don't know, maybe an above like dramatic, like I'm coming at you. And he can
He
get the
sees it.
shot based
He
off of
knows it.
that.
Nice.
He's incredible. And I think we just have very similar artistic vision, and so that really
Mhm.
helps. So I would ask Mineral Blue, but he doesn't do like still sets anymore. He's off
Oh,
doing
it's just
his
all
like
the video. Yeah,
videos and
yeah.
stuff.
That's cool
But
stuff too.
both of those people, John and Mineral Blue, are like just so incredible. But I guess getting back to the question, I ADD rabbit trailed, but I feel like, once I decided that I wanted to do the photography route, it had to be John, just because he's quick. But when I was doing it myself, it was a nightmare. There was like no way I could do the volume that I'm getting done. So, but yeah, I mean, if I don't do it or John isn't shooting it, it doesn't get done. And
Right.
so, more or less, the day to day looks very different depending on how close I am to a photo shoot. So if I don't have a photo shoot that weekend, I'm doing admin half the day, practically. And then when it's close to a photo shoot, then I'm like, running around, and my house is a horrible mess. And I've got like glue and paint all over me, and
Mm,
I'm just disgusting because
yeah.
Texas heat.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
so
down to the 80s now,
I,
at least
I
today.
know I walked outside
It's
today and
fun.
I was like, why wasn't it like this when I was trying to make my last prop? Because it's sitting right here. I was making my Marceline guitar, and
Oh,
it
that's
was like,
what that is. I was wondering.
yeah, my
Okay.
Marceline guitar.
Oh, that's fun.
Uh, um,
How often do you do shoots?
uh, well, it's kind of an interesting question because John lives 4 hours away. So we can't just pop in one weekend, do a shoot, and go home, right? And so a lot of times we shoot anywhere between 3 to 6 things in one weekend. And so a lot of times if I'm like, hey, I'm going to Houston for 5 days, I shoot like 6 things. And so a lot of times we do bulk shoots. And I've been doing a lot more recently because I'm actually taking a vacation
Oh,
next year.
good. Good.
Yay
It's
for me. I
fun.
haven't
Yeah.
had like a proper vacation in years. And so we're actually just getting really far ahead. I think we are 2 months
Mm,
ahead now. So I have about, I want to say we have shot like 12 things that haven't released yet.
nice.
But since I release 3 sets a month, if you would average that out, it's gonna be 3 shoots-ish per month. But again, like I said, we bulk shoot everything. So because of that, it's
Yeah.
kind of inconsistent.
Sure.
If he were closer, like I said, it would be more consistently like 3 a month. But
The so this one question we got from Kawaii Heart 02. I don't think she's here anymore. This is Jess. She's one of our followers. She asks, "What's your favorite romance anime?"
I haven't seen a single romance anime, have I? Romance isn't my thing, y'all.
You know, there's something like Full Metal Alchemist has romance in it. Maybe there's something that has some romance elements to it.
I
It's not
think,
strictly like shoujo or something,
yeah,
you know?
I think the closest thing to a romance anime that I've ever seen was my friend did the voice. What's the thing? Hyori Mia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I went to college with why is her
Marissa?
name? Huh?
Marissa?
Yeah, I went to college with Marissa.
You
I
did.
did.
Oh,
And so when she said she was in Hyori Mia, I was like, Marissa, you're in Hyori Mia?
really? Because I mean, I'm friends with Marissa too. I had no idea that you guys went
That's
to.
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, we
that's
went to
so
TCU
cool.
together. Yeah,
She's so nice. Yeah, and her
because she
career
was
is
in
exploding right now since
I
Horimiya.
know, because
Yeah,
she was in the theater department, and I lived with two theater kids. So
that's
I saw her here and there in
that's so
college.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was incredible when she like started coming into like the anime world. I was like, Marissa? And she's
Wait
like,
up.
Aaron. Like, and we were like,
That's
yep.
super cool. Yeah, and she so kind of a little bit of a full circle moment. She's so that dub was directed by Caitlin Glass, who is
Yeah.
famous for playing Winry.
Winry,
So there
yeah.
you go.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. So hey, by the way, guys, if you have any more questions, drop them in the questions. I want to play a quick game with you. I know you don't like being put on the spot necessarily, just from remembering how the podcast went. But this is an easy game.
Okay.
There's no losers. And
Okay.
you won't be a loser. So
Oh, yay.
I'm gonna. So I made a little playoff thing with characters that you're known for. And so we're gonna whittle it down till there's just one
Oh,
left. So you're gonna
oh.
have to choose between your babies. And so we'll start with
No.
yes. So we'll start with a round of 16 and we'll end up with
Okay.
one. And so yeah, you can just go like this, or you can give a little thought to it. And I listed them in alphabetical order, but the matchups actually came up pretty nicely. So we'll begin. Uh, so first match, 2B and Android 18.
Oh, 2B.
Yeah, that one's easy. How about Asuka and Azula?
And, and this is like me
Don't
picking
overthink
cost.
it too much. Just pick it.
But no, no,
Just
I have to ask one question. Is this, am I picking like who would win in a fight, or am I just picking who I like?
no. This is like a favorite.
Favorite. Okay, Asuka or Azula? Azula.
All
Azula wins.
right.
Uh,
Oh, this one might be hard. Siri or Elizabeth?
Elizabeth.
Yeah. Faye Valentine or Jinx?
Jinx.
Oh,
That
oh,
hurts.
that's terrible. All right. All right, that's it. I'm done with this. You picked Faye lost. All right.
Uh,
So, all right. Killua. I've never watched Hunter by Hunter. I hope I said that right. Killua or Kurisu from Steins Gate?
Killua.
Ooh, okay.
Killua.
Uh, Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen or Orihime?
Nobara.
All right.
I love Kujisaki.
I think this one might be tough too. Raven or Spider Gwen?
I'm gonna pick
I
Ray.
knew it. All right. Toph or Ty Lee?
Oh, Toph.
All
I'm
right.
actually
All right.
not a Ty Lee fan, fun fact.
Really?
A lot of people love my Ty Lee, and I'm like, I
It's so
think
cool.
she's the worst character.
Oh, wow. All right. Round two. All right. By the way, guys, pick who you think she's going to pick at the end. Just toss it in there. We've got 8 left. 2B or Azula?
If this would be harder if it was A2. If it was A2,
Mm,
this would be impossible. Azula wins.
okay. I didn't know you liked A2 better. Okay.
Yeah, I'm making an A2 from scratch.
Oh, that's gonna be so
Yeah.
awesome. I can't wait to see it. All
That's
right.
my next from scratch project. I'll start her after I finish my Jinx upgrades. So
Very cool. I think this is maybe gonna be the hardest. Elizabeth or Jinx?
I knew this one was gonna happen and I didn't want to deal with it. This is like the impossible question. I think I maybe lean towards Jinx slightly, but it depends on the day.
How about today?
Jinx today.
I see. I would have picked Elizabeth to win, so I'm already out of it. So, all right, Jinx. Okay, Killua or Nobara?
Killua.
All right, Raven or Toph?
Raven.
Raven. Final four, everybody. All right, Azula or Jinx?
Today, Jinx wins.
All right, Killua or Raven?
If I'm not thinking about the cosplay, I'm thinking about the character.
Mm,
Killua.
wow. Okay.
I love Killua.
I know you do. Final round. Jinx or Killua?
I don't like this game.
It's a horrible game. It's made to make you suffer.
This is literally, this could be a 50-50 depending on the day. Like, I literally, in my room, I have as much Jinx as Killua things. Um, I think today I would answer Jinx by like 1%.
Jinx is the winner, and you just destroyed everyone else. But all right.
I love my kids. I love all my kids.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to do that because I wanted to talk about all these amazing characters you've done. I was been following you for a few years now, so I've known you to do all these different cosplays. But if you search Ithileryn online, these are the ones that come up over and over and over, and then you talk about your love for these characters.
A
So
lot.
you know, you love
A
them. So
lot.
that was fun. All right, it was fun for me at least. So I do want to. We don't have a whole lot of time left, and I want to talk about what's happened with Instagram.
Yeah.
So I just kind of became aware of it a few weeks ago. You were having some problems with your original account, which has all these followers, all this engagement. You were having some
Mhm.
issues, and then suddenly I came online and was like, "You have a new account, and your old account is suspended. What happened?"
So I wish I knew, really. The best thing I can guess is so if we rewind to about, I think it was about 2 months ago, um, randomly I posted a story on my page and it had two prop toy GUNs, right? I'm just gonna
Oh.
spell that out because I'm scared of Instagram right now. And they had orange tips, like they were obviously toys. And I was like, thanks for whoever sent this to me off of my wish list. It was for Laura. And I had that up for about 20 hours and randomly it got flagged for selling firearms. And I was like, that's not okay. No, not really. And so I submitted an appeal and they just sat on it, never looked at it. And then in about a week, on a lot of people don't know about this part because it was on my subscriber story, but I uploaded a poison ivy selfie and like you know how my content is, it was family friendly, it
Mhm.
was fine, it did not
Mhm.
break community guidelines.
Yeah.
And I somehow like if the internet connection is a little spotty, sometimes it will upload things twice. I don't know if that has happened to you,
Yes.
but it happens to me.
Instagram is really weird like that. The
Yeah, and so
Wi-Fi screws it all up. Yeah.
yeah, and so it uploaded two. And when I noticed, I took one down. But then I realized it had a community guidelines flag on both of them. And
Oh.
so I appealed the one that was still up and the one that was taken down. And they, like, within 15 minutes, put the one that was still up. They reversed the flag and was like, oh, it's fine, whatever.
Okay.
So I'm like, why didn't you check my firearms flag? Anyway, but they still, after that day, never checked the flag on the one that I removed. They didn't take that flag off, even though it was the same photo. Anyway, about a month after that, randomly I woke up and I got an email saying my Instagram was suspended. Now, this was not this past Sunday, but the last Sunday, I think. Yes. And I appealed it and they brought it back after 10 minutes and said, we've made a mistake. Here's your Instagram back. And I was like, okay. And so I immediately made a backup because I was worried it was going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right, and it happened again. And 3 days later, it was last Wednesday, I woke up to again an email saying my account was suspended, and I submitted an appeal, and I've heard nothing this whole time. It's been a whole week, and I've heard nothing. Um, I did, I tried to talk to some people about it that have had similar issues. I have a friend that had her page suspended recently. and I talked to her about it, and she said what she did was get her Facebook page verified and talk to Meta through that, and then they restored it within a couple of days.
Mm.
So I worked on getting my Facebook page verified, and I did. I got it verified somehow. Um, and I talked to Meta, and in a couple of days they called me. Well, I talked to some guy on the phone, and he was like, "Well, I'm just a phone guy. I really can't do anything." And I'm like, "So I'm paying for what?
Yeah.
For nothing? Thank you." Um, and so he basically said he would add a note that he talked to me and it like verified that I was
You're
a
a real
real
person.
person.
Yeah.
So at least with my appeal, it will say she's a real person. She says she's not selling firearms. She says that this is a legitimate business, and I think whatever. So that's all he can do is submit a ticket with my appeal. And I was like, thanks. And he's like, you should hear back around maybe in a couple of days or a couple of weeks. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but this is my job. This is my livelihood,
This
y'all. And
is
he's
not a
like,
hobby. Yeah.
I can't do anything. I'm just a phone guy. And I'm like, And so that was on Saturday that I talked to Meta. And then I talked to somebody else. Somebody else told me, hey, I had a friend that had her page taken down, blah, blah, blah. And so I messaged this other person. I was like, hey, this happened. And she said that she submitted a complaint to the Attorney General of California because that's where Meta's located.
Mm.
And she submitted one for the state she's located in. And then her account showed up in 2 weeks.
Really? Mm.
So I submitted a formal complaint to the Attorney General of California and to the Attorney General of Texas. So I'm trying everything.
Yeah.
I'm trying everything.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's where we are. I hope I get it back. I mean, it's possible I won't. So I'm just trying to. I'm basically just acting like it's not coming back
Yeah.
because I think if I wait and I don't try to put, my content out there, if I don't try to advertise, then I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm losing valuable time.
Mm.
So more or less, I'm just acting like it's gone. But we'll see. I'm preparing for the worst and
Mm-hmm.
hoping for the best on this one.
Mm-hmm. So, so while that's processing and we're hoping that whatever's supposed to happen in the background's happening and people actually look at your account and like, what's going on here? This shouldn't be
Yeah.
suspended. What are the things that people that are, watching this, whether it's live right now or if you're watching it from our website or whatever,
Yeah.
what are the things that they can do to support you?
My joking answer is paypal.me/Ithileryn.
No, it's not a joke. Tell us all the ways that we can help. Like what are the platforms you want us to go to? What are the the ways that we can yeah, I mean PayPal, of course, Patreon, all those things
Yeah,
help. Yeah.
send me $6 for a boba.
Yeah.
No, Patreon is good. There's also I have a bunch of stuff I post for free, so it's not just paid. It's a really good place to go in general. You can make a free account and you can follow for free on there. And I post a lot more details about the each photo shoot on there that I'm not going to get into all the verbiage on Instagram or TikTok or
Right.
people don't they want to see it, they don't want to
Right.
read it. So if you want to see it and read it, Patreon's the best place to go. Obviously, I am posting on my new Instagram that's nothing
Hmm.
in comparison to the old one. I'm so sad. So I'm still posting daily to this Instagram. I'll try. I think I'm going to try to do a photo and a reel every single day, which seems like a lot, but I want my catalog to be on here because I think people now they see my page and they're like, well, you only have 3 things. Like, do you follow pages that have 3 posts? No. Like,
Yeah.
realistically, and I get it. Like if you don't know what's the point in following me if I don't have like some
Hmm.
beautiful backlog, right?
Right.
And so I'm working to post a lot of my backlog. I am trying to figure out how to do Twitter. I am not good at Twitter.
No, you're doing great. You're real active there. Like your engagement's jumped up so much just in this couple of
Really?
weeks span, right? Because yeah,
Okay.
because you were kind of just like, kind of, it was like an automated tweet type thing.
I was
And
forgetting
now,
about it.
well, we want to forget about Twitter. It's not, it's kind of a
Twitter is,
cesspool,
yeah,
but no,
Twitter
you're doing a
is
great job.
just
People are interacting with you there. So,
That's good. Yeah. So I'm posting Twitter. I'm trying to get all of my like TikToks and all of that good stuff
mhm,
posted to YouTube. I'm trying to post over
mhm.
there twice a day. So if you want like video content, YouTube, I'm like I'm at 2.4 million out of 3 million reels views to get monetized. So I'm like so close to getting monetized on YouTube. So pull up
Right.
my
You
YouTube and
too.
just let my videos roll while you're like
I saw
walking your
you
dog.
say that, and I was like, "What is she talking about?"
Yeah,
Okay,
just
but yeah,
let them
that's
roll.
you're that
Just
close.
let those videos
Oh
roll.
my gosh! All right, no, that's great. No, you're almost there. So YouTube
Yeah,
is a good one.
YouTube's a
Yeah,
great one.
yeah. Well, I this is my hope. My hope is that doing all this stuff now, like getting more engaged on YouTube and Twitter, once your Instagram comes back, right? You've got all these other things now going on, right, that are part of what you're doing,
Yeah.
and so like it'll be a good thing.
Yeah,
That's what we're hoping for.
I
It's
think
it's still going
so.
to be a good thing. So.
I think in the future, or in general for me, but also just like advice if somebody's watching this or will watch this that
Hmm.
is getting into content creation, don't put your eggs all in one basket. It's good advice. Your mama said it and I say it.
Oh, that is, yeah. You're a lesson learned for us, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
we'll keep track of it. Hopefully, it goes well. The Attorney General stuff sounds really interesting. I will let you know. I work with the Attorney General in Texas here a lot, and they
Oh
are
no.
they're not.
No.
Yeah, it's not.
He's gonna be like, this annoying girl just told me to look at her Instagram.
they're they're pretty busy, but
I know,
but
and
but
that's
maybe
what
you'll
I
find
was
a cosplay
thinking.
fan there. Maybe you'll be like, oh, it's Ithileryn, if you get
Well,
you just gotta
and
get to the right department.
I thought that was nuts. To be real, when I heard that, I was like, they
If it
have
happens,
way better things to do than to check up on Meta. But then I Googled it and I saw feeds on Reddit of people being like, yeah, I reached out to the AG of California and my account came back.
look, California is entertainment mecca, right? So I'm sure
So,
that their attorney general has got a lot more people on stuff like this, right? So
yeah, maybe. I
you
just
got
feel
to try
like
everything.
I literally I was telling my mom this morning. I was talking to my mom and I was like, yeah, and I legitimately reached out to the attorney general in California and I'm like, imagine you worked all these years, your career is like, you have
Yeah,
like one of the coolest
yeah.
careers in the country, you're the attorney general of
Mhm.
California, and what passes on your desk is, hey, they took down my Instagram, I just wear costumes. And mom was just dying. She was like, yeah, I'm sure they have more important things to do. And I was like, yeah, probably. But
Oh boy.
online, there's tons of people that said that it worked
Good.
for them, so
Well, hopefully, maybe they've got a cosplay
well,
division there or something like
hopefully,
that.
yeah. I
Hey,
mean, they
so,
must get so many just complaints about Meta. I'm guessing they just
oh
get
yeah,
endless complaints.
I
Like,
bet.
so
I bet. What a
I
mess. But
know.
when I was looking at your platforms, one that I was surprised to find was Reddit. I mean, how are you? Are you navigating that okay? Because so I've thought about doing Beneath the Tangles on Reddit, and people that are very engaged with Reddit was like, "Stay away. You shouldn't do that." I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll stay away." But I've seen I went to yours a little bit, and people are pretty engaged with it, and it seems like you're navigating it pretty well. Has it been okay?
I I admittedly am I have a love-hate relationship with Reddit
Yeah.
because some of my huge moments in like huge breakout moments early in my cosplay
Oh,
career were because
oh,
of like a redditor that was like, hey,
look at
look
this.
at this
Yeah.
stuff.
Hmm.
But also one time I ended up on the front page of Reddit when somebody dug up a really old photo of my cosplay and they were basically saying I was so ugly and I looked so busted, and it was like the oldest photo of me on the internet, guys. And it literally was on the front page of Reddit, them just
Oh,
dunking on me for days. And I was like so sick to my stomach because it was early days. It was like I did not have the backbone that I
you
do
weren't
now.
established. Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, cool, I'm on the front
Something
page of
different.
Reddit. Like, I wouldn't care because it would get me
Hmm.
so many
Yeah.
follows. I don't care if people hate on me
Well,
at
because
this
they
point.
go to your account and be
And
like,
then
"Whoa, this is
they
not what I
follow me. Yeah,
thought."
I don't care.
Yeah.
Hate me. Like,
Yeah.
say what you
Please, I'll take
will.
that.
Like, yeah, I literally, like, will stir the pot when someone is being hateful to me. I'm like, bring it. There's nothing that you can't say to me that I haven't heard.
Oh.
And so for me, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I'll take it. But back then, I was like, I was baby, and I was like, oh, they said I was ugly. And so I will say, if you are faint of heart, Reddit isn't the place for you because people are ruthless,
Hmm.
and the block feature, it basically it just makes it to where you can't see them yelling at you. It doesn't actually
Yeah.
protect you from them. You just don't see their comments. And so that's what I don't like about Reddit is because if you've got stalkers, they can still stalk you on Reddit.
Yeah.
So like
Seems.
that's less applicable I think for Beneath the Tangles, but you'll get a fair amount of hate, but I mean, I feel like you're kind of like whatever. I feel like
Yeah.
you would be able to handle it. So that's
Hmm.
usually my advice is if you can handle criticism and just unfair like rudeness, go for it because it could help you out. But if you're somebody that's sensitive, I would not.
The warning out here too is Twitter's about to do that. They're getting rid of the
Yeah.
block feature. So,
Yeah, I saw
um,
that and I was like,
so
"Oh, here we go."
yeah, and so like that doesn't bother me. I mute people. Like I don't need a block. I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to see your gross stuff on my feed. But for
Yeah.
people who have stalkers, that
Yeah.
that to me that's the concern there. So it
Yeah.
is yeah, it's a crazy place out there.
It
I
is.
so I wanna go ahead and to let you go in a minute here. But I want just one last question. Do you have any well, couple kind of final questions. Do you have any projects or any conventions or anything coming up?
As far as conventions, I'll be guesting at OkiCon in Norman, Oklahoma. I
Oh,
think it's like right after Christmas.
yeah, that's a New Year's one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then as far as like cosplay projects, I am, like I said earlier, I'm making some Jinx upgrades. So I'm gonna have like a big Jinx shoot. It's gonna be really cool. I have a friend that is making me a fish bones, and he will like the shark rocket launcher. The
Yes.
mouth
Mhm.
is gonna open when I pull the trigger. It's gonna have smoke machines. It's gonna like light up. It's gonna be the coolest thing ever. And then if I have time, I'll try to make the little mini gun, the pink one that sits on her hip. I'll try to make Pow Pow. I definitely am making the handgun. I have it like halfway made. Again, I'm like pointing to things you can't see. Um, and then I have to make a new wig because I jumped in the pool with my Jinx wig for,
Oh,
yeah, so it's
no.
disgusting. And so I'm remaking that.
Mm,
But yeah, after this big giant, and I'm shooting with a Vi that has like the gauntlets and everything, so it's gonna be like epic. And there also will be a Silco. So I will have some good photos of Silco and Vi. And then after that, yes, don't forget about Marcy. I just shot Marceline from Adventure Time. That will come out for Halloween.
oh,
And then let me think. After that, big projects. I have something secretive that I can't say what's coming, but it's a League of Legends Christmas thing that I'll be
oh.
making. And I haven't cosplayed her yet, so I'm excited. Can't tell you who it is, but then after all of these projects, I will be making A2 from Nier Automata, and I'll be making that giant sword that's
Mm-hmm.
bigger than her that has a
Mm-hmm.
lion's head on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's gonna be
I'm
amazing.
excited for that, and I'm planning on shooting her in sand dunes, so it's gonna be like crazy. So if anybody's played the game, you play when you I think you start playing A2's story, you're in these sand dunes, and I'm so excited to make that and bring that part of the game to life because I love A2. She's my favorite.
Oh.
So yeah, I've got those big projects coming, and then after that, I'll be making Morgana from League of Legends from scratch. Someone commissioned Morgana, and if you don't know who she is, she's kind of like a Raven character. She's very purple, very spooky, magic.
Mm-hmm.
Look her up if you don't know who I'm talking about. Morgana. She's very cool.
Very
But yeah,
cool.
got a lot
Yes,
of cool
so
stuff.
much. There's so much going on, you don't have time to worry about Instagram. It'll just it'll just come back while you're doing all this, hopefully. But yeah, so and I should let everyone else out there know who's watching us from beneath the tangles. Erin was, of course, on our podcast, a member of our podcast last year, and
That's right.
so there's still things bubbling out there. So
Yes.
stay tuned.
Yes. Me
Um,
and
yeah.
Paris will be back.
All right. So stay tuned for that. And oh yeah, and by the way, so we've been talking about all this cosplay stuff, but Erin is I think the thing that's most fascinating about you is what a deep mind you have. Like, just guys, go back and listen to. So we do have a podcast right now. That's Mike, who was on the previous Tanglecast. But if you go back to the old Tanglecast episodes, you'll hear Aaron do these incredible deep dives as we talk about faith and fiction and kind of how things work and work with each other and kind of help explain faith. And like I was always blown away by what
Aw,
Aaron was saying and all the
thank you.
preparation. It's awesome stuff. So there's plenty to look up. Please support her. Please follow all her stuff. Put her YouTube videos on, or rewind over and
Yeah.
over and over. Get her to that threshold so she can start making some money there.
Yes.
And then just pay and follow her new Instagram account. But stay tuned with what's happening. Hopefully, she'll get her old one back. And thank you for joining
Yeah.
us today. Yeah,
It
we
was
appreciate
fun.
you. Yeah. So follow Ithileryn or Ithileryn cosplay wherever you go. And we will see you later,
All
Aaron. Have a
right.
good one.
Thank you for having me.
And bye, everyone out there. Thanks for joining.